Hello and welcome to the MJ News Review. My name's Tony. Unfortunately, Jess Garcia is unable to join us today, but you're in very safe hands with me. What an interesting week it's been. There's been so much Michael Jackson news, and of course, it was the Thriller season. So we're going to take a deep dive into all the Michael Jackson trick or treatery, as well as taking an extended look into the news highlighted over on the MJ News Digest. I'm not sure if you can hear the weather I'm currently experiencing in the southeast of England. It's very windy outside. So if you do hear my blinds rattling, I guess it lends to the feeling of Halloween. So let's get started with the headlines. Heal the World, used in Nigeria protest, the Glove movie, court update, Safechuck dismissed, Safechucks response, latest MJ estate versus HBO court Gubbings, MJ security cam footage, new album, possibly, and sad news, rest in peace, Kenya Jackson. So the first story is the Heal the World Nigeria protest. So this was regarding the protest to end the police brutality in Nigeria. Now, there was a stunning video shared on Twitter of thousands of protesters joining together singing Heal the World as part of that peaceful protest. It was really moving to watch, a really powerful moment. So there has been a real rise of Michael's songs being used in peaceful protest around the world. So why are Michael's songs more relevant now than ever? Well, there's always going to be problems in the world, from injustice, brutality to environmental issues. These things seem to be escalating, and these are things that Michael pointed out years ago. So they'll always be relevant in today's society in whatever year we're living in. I guess one of the earliest examples of a protest song from Michael was back in 1977 for the Going Places album Man of War, recorded with the Jacksons. Now, although Michael didn't write the song, its sentiments still echo around the world today. The Jacksons were still performing this song back in 2012, maybe even 2014 during the Unity tour. So let's have a look at the other protest songs as highlighted by an article I found by Joe Vogel for the blog Oh No They Didn't. And then we're going to have a look at some of your comments from the MJ News channel. So this article, as I said, was from notheydidn't.livejournal.com, and it's a top 10 of Michael's protest songs. Number 10, Joe puts as Threatened, where Michael takes on the role of monster to highlight society's fears and obsessions. Number 9 is Jam, signalled Michael's dramatic shift to a more socially conscious music back in the early 90s. And Joe says in this song, Michael fends off the surrounding madness with music. Number 8, Joe puts Black or White, which is an inspiring call for racial harmony with an undercurrent of indignation. Tabloid Junkie, according to Joe, it's probably Michael's most polemic against the media. Number 6 is Money, the denunciation of materialism and greed. Number 5, We've Had Enough. Obviously anti-war, and as Joe says, easily one of the best anti-war songs of the decade. Number 4 is Scream, which is full of pent-up angst unleashed with a vengeance. Is It Scary, number 3. Good to see that at number 3. Joe says this is a shrewd use of the Gothic tradition to turn the tables on a judgmental society. Number 2, They Don't Care About Us, which obviously featured really heavily this year. Joe says this is sharp, militant, direct. It's a rallying call for the voiceless and the oppressed. And of course, number 1 is Earth Song, which Joe says is probably the most epic protest song in popular music history. So what were some of your comments? Well, Neve said on the MJ News Digest video, Neve said, it's so sad the things that are happening in Nigeria. Heal the World is a song that speaks volumes these days. And Artress says, Michael Jackson's Heal the World brought a lot of attention to the people all over the world, helping disabled and homeless people. He was so caring, compassionate, and a lovable human being. Let's continue to support Heal the World. Amen to that. So our next story was the Glove movie. Oh dear. So this stars Vic and Bob, UK comedians, and Apparently, the movie goes into production next year, so just a few months away. The synopsis for this says that two friends are basically raising money by searching for rare collectibles, and they go on a hunt for the elusive Michael Jackson training glove. Well, what is the Michael Jackson training glove? We don't know, but the posters, the movie art shows Michael's sequined glove. It does appear that Matt Lucas will be featured in this movie. Now, Matt Lucas was one of the blue ticks that supported Leaving Neverland back in 2019, and he was quite the staunch defender of that steaming pile of poo. So I can't see this being a positive Michael Jackson movie. Of course, I'm sure the producers and whoever's involved are going to say, much like Dan Reed, that the movie isn't about Michael Jackson, but already in the run-up to production, they're using Michael and his imagery to sell this movie. So as fans, obviously we're going to be biased against this, but what about non-fans? There definitely seems to be a definite upswing in positive support for Michael. Have non-fans, have the general public, have they had enough of this Michael Jackson witch hunt? It's going to be really interesting to see how this pans out. My favourite comment over on YouTube was from Sheila, who says the glove film sounds a right load of crap. Okay, so let's get into all this cult gubbings. The first story was obviously Safechuck dismissed. So Safechuck was dismissed on all counts. And at the time of recording my original video, I was unable to include his lawyer, Finaldi's response. But Finaldi's response was, "This ruling turns California law on its face. We are going back to the Court of Appeal and we are going to win this thing." Now, I did see a tweet on Twitter just after this, which unfortunately I didn't save and I can't find it now, that basically broke down why Safechuck can't appeal. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. Safechuck's response was he deleted his Instagram for a short while, which was interesting because Safechuck has been using his Instagram as like an advocate for sex abuse victims, but when his court case is thrown out of court, he deletes his Instagram, so he's no longer an ally and an advocate for sex abuse victims or genuine sex abuse victims. Then it appears that his Instagram came back up, and then fans reported the Instagram, and Instagram took it down, but Safechuck's account came back, and on the day of the ruling, he did post nothing about the ruling whatsoever. He just posted a photo of his son, and it did kind of feel like he was manipulating his audience. What were your thoughts on the media's coverage? There was definitely radio silence for at least 18 hours after the news, but then the majority of the press coverage was more concerned about Leaving Neverland 2 and the MJ estate trying to ban the film, with the Safechuck ruling just a tiny little footnote. Now, Dan Reed has the creative control to spin what's happening in court in whatever way he wants. And obviously we know Leaving Neverland 2 is coming, but more about that in a moment. So regarding the comments, everyone obviously really happy with the results. But one of the best comments was from Paul, who says, if Safechuck appeals, he should be forced to take the stand. Now, that would be hilarious. He would need to explain how he could be abused in a building from as early as 1988, which wasn't finished being built until 94. So our next story, before I get onto that, I just want to have a cup of tea. Hold on a moment. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so the next story, MJ Estate versus HBO. So there was a motion to quash the subpoenas. So the MJ Estate has subpoenaed Dan Reed and his production company, Amos, to hand over unpublished footage and material from Leaving Neverland. But Reed is trying to argue that under the California Shield law, as a reporter, he has privilege to prevent disclosure. So he doesn't want to hand over this unpublished footage and material. Now, whether this unpublished material still exists or has it been mysteriously deleted, I don't know. I guess we'll find out soon enough. But what was interesting was that as we reviewed the court documents, there's quite a few exhibits. Exhibit C was an email from Dan Reid to Howard Weitzman from the MJ estate, confirming that they had already met back in June with Thomas Mesereau present, and that Reid was requesting that they film Weitzman for an interview for Leaving Neverland 2. Weitzman's reply was basically saying thanks, but no thanks, because based on the fact that Dan Reid went on record saying that he believes the subjects of his so-called documentary. But just before that, Reid emails Weitzman to introduce himself as the guy who made Leaving Neverland 2, and said that the guy who made Leaving Neverland, and that Leaving Neverland 2 will follow both sides of this significant story in great detail through the eyes of the defendant. Now, when I first read that, I thought, has a miracle happened? Is Dan Reid going to be producing a balanced Leaving Neverland 2 just because it said follow both sides of this significant story? But then, of course, it says through the eyes of the defendant. So it's going to be another hit piece. Another interesting exhibit was Exhibit K, which was Reid's letter to Paris Jackson, which was sent on the 10th of January 2019, so just 15 days before the film premiered at Sundance. And in this letter, Dan basically introduced himself as the creator of a movie about Paris's father sexually molesting young boys. I mean, what a piece of work that man is. How Paris must have felt when she received that. But I guess that was included in the exhibits as proof that the Jackson family were aware of this before its actual premiere. So I posted on Twitter just after this. I had a conversation with two people on the same day, two random people, about Michael Jackson Leaving Neverland. Now, these two people weren't related. They weren't Michael Jackson fans, but they enjoyed his music. Both of them said that they didn't believe in the film at all. And one of them actually said that they felt that the film took the absolute piss out of genuine child sex abuse victims. So I posted that, and I received some hate from the trolls. Apparently, one of them said that I didn't actually have those conversations and I was talking bullshit, which is actually bullshit in itself. And then, unfortunately, someone tried to hack my Twitter account, my email account, and my bank accounts, but I certainly will not be silenced. Our next story is the MJ security cam footage that I posted on MJ News Digest. And I wondered, I was conflicted on whether I was going to publish this or not. I did feel it was an invasion of Michael's privacy, but it's clear that Michael knew the camera was there. It was basically Michael in an elevator, and at times Michael turns the camera away from him. But I felt that it really showed more of Michael as the man rather as Michael as the megastar, the hero. And it showed Michael to be very caring towards his fans and very caring towards the children that was in his group. It appears that I think at least some of them were the Casio family that Michael kind of adopted for a while. Some of the comments on the video, Anand said that he felt this was an invasion of privacy, and Global Citizen said Michael always wanted to be a father to a big family, but it never worked out for him. All these surrogate families filled that need, I think. And Neelam said you can clearly see how loving and caring he is for the children, but this shows he was always filmed and photographed. Michael hated cameras. He even noticed a camera and turned it away from himself. He didn't have privacy at all. There is a second part of this security cam footage from the same hotel that isn't focused on the elevator. I will be posting that on MJ News Digest soon. So next story is the new album. So over on Twitter, an apparent track listing leaked for a new album. Now this track listing seems to show that the songs that we could be getting are Can't Get Your Weight Off of Me, or Can't Get Your Weight Off Me, Pressure, The Loser, also known as I Am the Loser or I Was the Loser, Pain, So Beautiful, Throwing Your Life Away, Melody, and Peace Cry. Some of these songs, most of these songs we've heard before, some of them we haven't. Is this Was this track listing real or fake? Well, I guess only time will tell. And is it the right time to release new music? So from your comments, True or False said that the pressure and the pain were actually recorded during the Invincible sessions. And Ben says, I am highly skeptical of that list. If the estate was not able to produce anything substantial for History 25, I find it unlikely that they have been working on a new album, which would take a lot more effort. And in the wake of Leaving Neverland, I currently think any mainstream MJ products or albums could cause backlash and unfavorable press. I don't think this is the time to be releasing new music. Now, obviously, we all want new music. We want this track list to be true. There will be a new Michael Jackson album out at some point, and we know that the estate are not being truthful when they say there's hardly any material left. I'm hoping that the next album, whenever it comes, will include the song Faces, which has been played at brand seminars and leaked recently on YouTube. Now, that version is incomplete, but even in that form, it sounds absolutely amazing, and it needs an official release, please. So our last news story was this very sad news of the passing of MichaelJackson. So Kenya was the adorable chocolate Labrador that was given to Prince in 2006 by Michael Jackson. By his father, Paris was given a kitten called Katie, and Blanket wanted a hippo. I don't think he got a hippo. So obviously there's real significance of Kenya to Prince. Kenya held that special link with his father, and it's devastating enough just to lose a dog anyway. I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who watched my tribute to MichaelJackson. Oh, there's a car. Thank you. So thanks to everyone who watched my tribute to MichaelJackson, and thank you for sharing your own stories about your dogs that sadly passed. So now that the news is on the way, let's get into Thrillerween. It is the Michael Jackson season. So obviously we have Thriller, which is synonymous with Halloween. We also had Ghost, which is just released on YouTube. More about that in a moment. We had the Halloween special that aired in 2018 that was supposed to air every single year, but Leaving Neverland put a stop to that. And the Scream album, which is really just a glorified playlist. So Ghosts YouTube release. Finally. So there were whisperings that either Ghosts or Thriller would be remastered and released on YouTube. Now, I don't think we had a full remastering of Ghosts, but the quality was a lot better. Especially, it was a lot more than we thought we were going to get. But you do have to adjust the quality in the settings on YouTube, and my video showed you how to do that. Now, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't see any ads while I'm watching YouTube content. But I did see on Twitter someone posted a screenshot of 12 ads during the movie. So I logged out of my YouTube Premium and watched it with ads, and yeah, I got about 8 ads, but you can't blame the MJ estate. They've got to make bank in whatever way they can. So at the time of recording, we're up to 1.8 million views, which is amazing. Was it released on the 29th? That's just a few days ago. Now, I really hope the estate keep the movie on YouTube. Originally, they said they're going to take it down. I think it's tomorrow, is it? Or later today, the 1st or the 2nd of November. Perhaps if they do take it down, they'll put it back on every Halloween. But just leave it on there, MJ Estate. I mean, it's doing great numbers. I am concerned that receiving those kind of streaming figures and then taking the video down, what that could do to the YouTube algorithm for Michael Jackson-related content. One of my pet peeves about the upload was that the estate didn't get the title right. The original title is Michael Jackson's Ghost, but they titled it as Michael Jackson Ghosts Short Film, but maybe I'm just nitpicking. I have rewatched it quite a few times on YouTube, and I've noticed quite a few new things, as I'm sure a lot of you have. I mentioned this on Twitter, and a few people responded and said they'd noticed a few things as well. I picked up on one continuity error. At one point, one of the dancers has a cane, and in the next shot, the cane mysteriously disappears, but it is Halloween after all. I also noticed callbacks to the Thriller and Bad short films, and there was a section of the audio that was repurposed for the MTV live performance of Dangerous. And I love that about Michael Jackson's short films and his songs. They all have these different layers to them that require us to repeatedly experience them. So that's Ghost. On to Thriller. Now, obviously, Thriller is synonymous with Halloween. And I think Michael himself at one point said that Thriller and Halloween go together like a hand and glove. I've always considered Thriller to be a work in progress, much like the Dangerous live performances that changed and got better over time. Thriller was worked on from 1983 to 2009, the original short film, obviously, and then we had the different variations of the live performances, which kind of were tweaked and got better during the different tours. And then we had the 3D Dome project version of Thriller. Now, that version reminded me more of Ghost. It felt a lot more like the Ghost film. And when I first saw that, I wondered if Michael's vision was to combine both Thriller and Ghost into maybe one movie musical. That definitely would have been awesome. And I remember during the Thriller 3D release, John Landis, when he was doing his press tour, he spoke about Michael's intention of making Thriller into an actual movie. So Michael's impact on Halloween is obviously absolutely immense. Thriller tops the charts around Halloween every year. This year, Smooth Radio published their top 10 Halloween countdown. Thriller was number 1, obviously, and Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell featuring MJ was number 3. But even when you look at the Halloween costumes, there's so many TikToks this year of people wearing the Thriller jacket, and even in Animal Crossing, which is a game I'm a massive fan of, players are providing other players with free Thriller avatar costumes. And even last year, just 9 months after Leaving Neverland premiered, People.com published an article called Michael Jackson's Halloween hit Thriller more popular than ever. So obviously it was going to be a special time for us within the fan community, but there was also a lot going on within our MJ fam. This Halloween was spectacular. We had the Ghost release on YouTube. Then we had the Ghost watch along with Taj Jackson and Danny Oliver, which was really interesting. And then the premiere of the new Paris Jackson single and video, as well as a Q&A and live acoustic version by Paris. And then Prince teamed up with Amarian for an album release and a tour around Havenhurst, which was really fascinating. We also had some great podcasts. We had the MJ Cast and the Michael Jackson Book Club, and it kind of felt like when we all got together for Spike Lee's Michael Jackson birthday celebrations. And that's one of the things that I love about this fan community. Like most families, we argue and we don't all hold the same point of view, but we come together as one to celebrate the greatest entertainer and one of the most important figures in popular culture, as well as a vital and inspiring humanitarian. So that's it for this episode of the MJ News Review. Thank you so much for listening, downloading and following. It really does mean a lot. Before I go, I just want to shout out to a few people. Obviously, a big thank you to Jess Garcia. I look forward to speaking with you soon. Also, I want to say thanks to the MJ Cast and to Chris and Mark over at the Knocked Conscious podcast for your combined support and technical wizardry, helping me get this podcast off the ground. And thank you to everyone who subscribed and to all of you who contribute to the MJ News Digest YouTube channel. So until the next time, remember, the best is yet to come.